The hallowed halls of Congress have always been a stage for political drama, yet few scandals in recent memory have been as shocking as the one surrounding former Representative Matt Gaetz. On December 23, 2024, the House Ethics Committee released a bombshell report. This document, the culmination of a years-long investigation, painted a picture of Gaetz's involvement in a web of illicit activities. The report detailed allegations of sexual misconduct, payments for sex, drug use, and a blatant disregard for ethical conduct. It sent shockwaves through Washington, D.C., raising serious questions about Gaetz's fitness for office. The report's findings were damning, to say the least. It alleged that Gaetz, once a rising star in the Republican Party, had engaged in a pattern of behavior that violated not only House rules, but also potentially the law. The allegations were met with a mix of outrage and disbelief. How could a sitting congressman engage in such brazen misconduct? The answer, as the report meticulously laid out, was a cocktail of entitlement, a disregard for the law, and a belief that he was above the rules that govern everyone else. The House Ethics Committee, a bipartisan body tasked with investigating ethical violations by members of Congress, left no stone unturned in their investigation. They interviewed numerous witnesses, reviewed financial records, and pored over mountains of evidence. Their findings were disturbing, painting a picture of a man who used his position of power to satisfy his own desires. The report detailed how Gaetz used his influence to solicit sex, often from young women, and then used campaign funds and even taxpayer dollars to cover his tracks. The report's release marked a turning point in the saga of Matt Gaetz. It was no longer just whispers and allegations. It was a formal indictment of his character and his actions. The evidence was there for all to see, laid bare in black and white. The question now was whether Gaetz would face any real consequences for his alleged misdeeds. At the heart of the House Ethics Committee's report was the allegation that Matt Gaetz had paid for sex on multiple occasions. The report alleged that Gaetz, often using intermediaries like his friend Joel Greenberg, a former Seminole County tax collector, would use websites and apps to solicit women for sex. The report documented at least 20 instances where Gaetz paid thousands of dollars to women for sex. This was not just a case of a politician caught with his pants down. It was a calculated and systematic abuse of power. The report revealed that Gaetz's preferred method of payment was through mobile payment platforms like Venmo and Cash App. These transactions, often accompanied by cryptic messages, provided a digital trail that investigators were able to follow. The report included screenshots of these transactions, showing how Gaetz would send money to women shortly after meeting them. These transactions were often routed through intermediaries, likely in an attempt to conceal their true nature. Perhaps the most disturbing allegation in the report was that one of the women Gaetz paid for sex with was only 17 years old at the time. This allegation was particularly egregious because it meant that Gaetz could potentially face statutory rape charges. The report detailed how Gaetz met the girl through Greenberg, who was already under investigation for sex trafficking. The report alleged that Gaetz was aware of the girl's age and that he went to great lengths to keep their relationship a secret. The report's findings on Gaetz's financial dealings were damning. They painted a picture of a man who was willing to use his wealth and influence to exploit women. The report also raised serious questions about Gaetz's judgment and his fitness to hold public office. How could a man who engaged in such behavior be trusted to represent his constituents? As if the allegations of paying for sex weren't damning enough, the House Ethics Committee's report also delved into Matt Gaetz's 2018 trip to the Bahamas. This trip, which was supposed to be a getaway with friends, quickly transformed into what the report described as a drug-fueled sexcapade. The report detailed how Gaetz, along with several associates, spent several days partying and engaging in sexual activity with multiple women. According to the report, Gaetz and his entourage did not hold back during their time in the Bahamas. They allegedly threw lavish parties, used illegal drugs openly, and engaged in sexual activity with little regard for discretion. The report painted a picture of a group of men who felt invincible, shielded by their wealth and privilege. The report alleged that Gaetz used campaign funds to pay for the trip, which, if true, would be a clear violation of campaign finance laws. The report also claimed that Gaetz accepted gifts from individuals who stood to benefit from his position in Congress, which would be a violation of House ethics rules. The Bahamas trip, as described in the report, was more than just a lapse in judgment. It was a blatant disregard for the law and a clear indication that Gaetz believed he was above the rules. In the face of mounting evidence, Matt Gaetz remained defiant. He vehemently denied all allegations against him, dismissing them as a politically motivated witch hunt. He accused the House Ethics Committee of being biased against him and claimed that the entire investigation was an attempt to silence his conservative voice. He even went so far as to accuse former Speaker of the House Kevin McCarthy of orchestrating the investigation to get rid of him. Gaetz's legal team was also hard at work, trying to discredit the investigation and prevent the report from being released to the public. They filed numerous motions and lawsuits, arguing that the investigation was flawed from the start. They claimed that Gaetz was not given a fair chance to defend himself, and that the committee was biased against him. Despite Gaetz's best efforts, the truth had a way of coming out. The House Ethics Committee voted to release the report, making its findings public. The evidence against Gaetz, as detailed in the report, was overwhelming. It painted a picture of a man who was willing to abuse his power for his own personal gain, someone who believed that the rules did not apply to him. The release of the report marked a significant victory for accountability and transparency. It showed that no one, not even a sitting congressman, is above the law. However, the fight was far from over. Gaetz vowed to clear his name and continue his political career. Only time would tell if he would be successful.